Don't blush, baby.
I'm not blushing.
What is up, guys? Welcome to the SuperCoach Experience podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the week, Cully Dogs. We're here for the final podcast before the BBL kicks off on Tuesday. The Aussies have absolutely humped the West Indies, and there's no coincidence that it coincides with Steve Smith being the captain once again. I'm here with my trusty co-host, Jake. How are you, Jake?
Yeah, good, mate. We finished off the West Indies as expected, mate. I could have captained that team and we still would have won. So I don't think we can put it on Steve Smith.
It took them 5 days with the first test. So very early in the fourth day, some good bowling. But it's honestly really exciting that I was really excited at the start of this test that we we're going to go till pretty much February with everyday cricket. But we've got to wait another day with no cricket. The BBL starts on Tuesday. How's your team looking?
I haven't really played around with it that much. I guess there was a few practice games over the weekend, so I've kind of got a few names that kind of stood out. But again, you kind of don't really know like the exact teams that we're going to get. So I guess as the games sort of go out in the first round, there's free trades to kind of swap your players around, and depending on where they are batting or how many overs they're aiming to get, depending on the makeup of the bowling attack of each team.
It's really hard in this format because unlike the NRL, there's TLT on the Tuesday, so you've got 2 days to make some decisions, and then you've got another few days until certain teams play, and each team gets locked out. With this one, you've kind of got to be on the ball, and you've got to predict things, and you've got to predict how they're going to happen, and you've kind of got to have contingency plans. So say you've got someone like Sam Harper, who we spoke about last week, and he doesn't open the batting, you've kind of got to swap him out. And if you swap him out, there's a lot of teams that kind of have already played, so they're locked out, and the options are so limited. What's your plans for tackling this, and how are you going to go about it?
Well, look, I've kind of mapped out the first round that if my emergency player, which is a player on a double, does do well in their first game, then I'm trading one of the single game players to a Perth Scorchers player. That's kind of one of my tactics leading in, because I think Scorchers having the double the week after, I think getting one or two ahead of those numbers, and then using the three trades the week after on players that I might have missed that are going to go up in price, or even more per Scorchers. So that's kind of one tactic that I'm going with. I'm pretty sure Mikey's going with the same thing, and there's a few people that I've seen that are starting with Scorchers. So I think I don't really have any players that play later in the round. The ones I do have later in the round, I'm probably like I just said, potentially going to, before the end of the round, I'd sell them to a Perth Scorcher. So that's probably my main tactic going in.
That's probably the exact way to go about it. I never really thought of it like that. Honestly, going in with the plan for the double next round, and having like a Jilks on your bench, I guess, and hopefully, he scores a 20 or a 30 in the first game, then you can bank that straight away and bank on him going big in the next one, and you get that as an emergency. So that's what's good about the emergency system in BBL SuperCoach. We do have a bit of news before we go into the Brisbane Heat and Perth Scorchers today. We've got some trial matches to go through, and we've also got some signings. So without further ado, Perth Scorchers have made some signings. They've made a lot of international signings. So Adam Lith, there is another guy here, Stephen Eskenazi, and there is another guy who I don't know the name of either, but
I think there's a local leg spinner, I think, that they've brought into the side, which probably won't get a run. But I think Lith, I think he might be an English guy. I think he'll probably open for them with Faf du Plessis. So he's not actually in SuperCoach yet, Lith. So we don't really know his price. So could be an interesting one for round 2.
Yes, I agree. Depending on the price, they've also signed Hamish McKenzie we don't know much about him, but I think we'll probably know to learn about a lot of these players later in the tournament. I guess not really relevant, but moving on to the trial matches. The Stars played last week, and there's a lot happening there. Marcus Stoinis, 62 runs, but there was a bit of a scare. He did bat 5 for one of the trial matches.
I still don't think at 82K, the fact that looks like
Yeah.
he's back bowling, and I mean the Stars batting lineup ahead of him is not that good, so there's a good chance he's coming in early regardless. And if he's going to punch out 60 off 30, he's almost, I think he's a must-have.
I agree. Joe Clark, 41 off 21. We did talk about this in the first podcast. Joe Clark, 41 off 21. I get it's against a Renegades kind of a warm-up side, but that is a good sign, in my opinion, and he will keep. What are your thoughts on him, and does that 41 off 21 change your mind of him?
He's been my team since the get-go, so it only, just improves my my idea of starting with him. Like I'm not going to be. I mean, round 2 he won't be in my team, but round 1 he's a lock for sure.
And then there is Hilton Cartwright, 31 off 13. I don't know where he batted because the report here doesn't say it, but 31 off 13, 122,000. If he gets that opening spot, I'd be very keen on him, but it really depends. They're playing round 1, which is great. Game 1 on Tuesday night. We were going to do a pre-lockout thing, but it's logistically a nightmare for all of us lining up times as it is. So, with the Stars playing first round, if Hilton Cartwright gets an opening spot and maybe Joe Clark doesn't, maybe he gets a number 5 spot, will you consider a swap around?
I think they both might open, to be honest. I think might be both of them. Then you go, Lark and Joe Burns that's there, or was he Queensland?
Joe Burns is there, yes.
And then Stoinis in at 5. So I think Hilton Cartwright might open. Otherwise, he could end up 6. And we saw a bit last year, the Stars they move their order all the time. Like each game, they've got a different person opening. So I don't know. If he's opening, we've saw what he can do. He's a big hitter. But the fact that he's probably not going to, we're going to have to probably trade him in the next week because I've already got, I think, 3 Stars, and I don't really want to load up too many because I'm going to have to, find some bench spots for the week after. So I don't know. I'm hoping he doesn't open, so I don't have to think about it.
Hot tip: if he does open and Stoinis bats 5, I could do the switcheroo between the two because if Stoinis bats 5, I don't like that role at all. Like, yes, he has the potential to get a 40 off 20, but it's not the role.
He's also bowling, Savs. He's bowling.
Yeah, you're right. He is at the right price, but maybe he's someone you don't play in your side. You play him as an auto emergency, and you get a Hilton Cartwright in your side, opening batting.
But he's going to get done for a duck by the Mighty Thunder anyway.
Probably. And their new recruit, Tom Rogers, 3 for 50. Quite expensive, but 3 wickets there. He was a breakout star last BBL season, and he's the kind of guy who has such a breakout year that you're like, no, he's not going to back it up. This is the kind of guy that probably can back it up with his he's just got that fire and that hunger. Tom Rogers, what are your thoughts on him? And could he be a smoky to land in your side round 1?
No, I don't think so. I think I much prefer other bowlers in that side than Rogers. So is it Tom Rogers? Isn't he the batsman?
He was. No, I think
Tom Rogers at the Renegades or the Rogers that played for the Canes. I'm pretty sure he's at the Renegades. Is that what we're talking about? Oh no, we've moved on for Stars, haven't we?
Roger. Oh, so he plays for the Renegades.
Yeah, Renegades. Because I know that they had a Rogers last year. There was like an emergency play. Okay, sorry.
No. Yeah, so Tom Rogers, Renegades, 350. Weird how this is. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, no buy. But I think the thing with the Renegades, you've got Kane Richardson, who's the top of the top premium. But then you've got a lot of cheaper bowlers. So you've got all their spinners.
Mm.
You've got that Hussain. You've got Majid, who you get them for 40K cheaper. And I'd much rather run them and then pick up 150K and use on a double week player.
Yep. I guess moving on to the Renegades, Jono Wells, he is a stalwart of the BBL game.
I'll leave this one to you, Saz, because you wrote a post. You and Mikey absolutely love this guy, so you can rave about him.
I don't love him, but I think he plays his role so perfectly. First Supercoach is probably not the kind of guy you want to have, but 102 off 53, he did bat 4, so I think that is a slight role change for himself. He's usually batting that 5 or 6 role. Batting 4, I would say that's borderline the lowest you want a premium batsman in your side kind of batting at. At 120,000, it's not that expensive, but it's not that cheap either. With someone like him, it's definitely a wait and see, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a wait and see. The fact that he could go from 4 to 6 depending on the loss of wickets. So, yeah, I think it's a wait and see.
Aaron Finch, 79 or 46. He is about a similar price, 130 to 38K, I think. 79 or 46. He's someone who can really become a Supercoach gun. We know he's a Supercoach gun. He is an absolute gun. He has had a down form in the BBL in the last 2 seasons. That being said, he's always kind of been that type of person that dominates this competition. Do you see yourself starting with someone like Aaron Finch, or at least keeping a close eye on him?
Yeah, like we said, kind of with Jono Wells. Not so much Jono Wells, I'd rather Aaron Finch. But I think a lot of these Renegades definitely keeping an eye on. They do not have a buy at all for the whole tournament. So leading up to, I guess, their round 5 double is kind of when you want to be targeting them, seeing when their price is kind of going to bottom out, or if they're going to increase, jump on them that week rather than just waiting and you paying a much more higher price on them. So it's definitely a watch for a lot of the Renegades. The last couple of seasons, they've been absolute stinkers. So, they're a watch this season.
Do you think, like Aaron Finch, 79 or 46, do you think if he can replicate that in round 1, that is better than someone getting 2 25s in a row, getting a wicket every game? I don't know. Maybe it's worth considering, especially considering these players who have the doubles. You might not be fully convinced on, like a Hilton Cartwright, for example. He's not an absolute slam dunk keeper, whereas Aaron Finch, we know what he's capable of. I think Hilton Cartwright is a quite bad example because I think we know what he's capable of, but Aaron Finch just showed it for longer and more consistently.
But he also hasn't showed in the last couple of years, which is kind of the turn off for him. Like last year, he came in at like 60 or nearly bottom dollar last year. And apart from the last round, I think he went berserk. Before that, he really didn't do anything. Everyone had him in their side and he just disappointed everyone. So I have a feeling he's not even going to open. He might come in at 3. I think he came in at 3 in that trial game. But again, we can't base it too much on trial form.
Yeah, so that stems into my next talking point. Sam Harper, 30 off 11. He did open the batting. I did speak about him last week. If he opened the batting, is he an option? $100,000. The keeper position is not an absolute slam dunk at the moment. We don't know what is the best option. I think what we know is Josh Inglis is one you lock in, especially knowing he's got the double next. He bats up the order. And we know his potential. He's played well in the BBL. I guess Matt Gilks kind of fits in that exact category as well, but he's not as proven as Josh Inglis. So if he gets that opening spot as well, then maybe that kind of answers that question. But Sam Harper, $100,000. You can save quite a bit of money there if you're going him instead of a Felipe, a Matt Wade. He's always kind of been relevant. But what are your thoughts on him? Because I really think that 30 off 11, that's about his peak. He doesn't really go on with it.
Yeah, I mean, he just shows glimpses in the last couple of years. He's shown glimpses to show that, look, get him in, but he's never been consistent with it. And I think until he shows that, he's a watch for the buy period, but don't think I'm going to be starting with him. I think, like I said, with a lot of the Renegades, I think I'm just going to put him on my watch list and see how they go. I think, for the Renegades.
Yeah. All right. And we've got some. So we've got the Perth Scorchers warm up match here, but we'll talk that into when we speak about them. And that's all we got.
Did you get anything for the Sixers Thunder warm up game? Because there was nothing. They showed nothing.
I know. I did speak to Ryan Hadley, and he played in the game. He bowled well, but Sam Whiteman actually played in the Prime Minister's or the Cricket Australia 11 match against South Africa. So he didn't play in that match. So we don't know what is going on. I'll actually message him now and see if he can give us any info.
I think it was Chris Green. I saw a quote that said Chris Green will say that Julesy will open. So
you saw a quote?
A good tell. Yeah, well, I saw something about Chris Green saying that Julesy will open, and you assume Hales is the other opener. So
yeah. Oh, yeah, you would assume that. All right, let's move into the team analysis. We'll start with the Brisbane Heat because they are a side that doesn't have the bye this round. So we could legitimately talk about this team leading into this round one. Are you excited for round one? It's only 2 days away. It feels like
I'm excited. I'm going to the game on Friday, so
you are?
I'm pretty pumped. Yeah.
You are a BBL kind of nuffy, aren't you?
We go to all the for some reason the Thunder have a lot of home games in fucking Canberra, in Manuka, but the ones at the showground we try and get to as many as we can.
It is quite close compared to
3 hours. Get on the train, couple of beers, couple more beers.
It is pretty good getting to that ground compared to the SCG. The SCG is it's just a nightmare
for us. Definitely.
Yeah. So we're starting with the Brisbane Heat batsmen. We assumed that the opening batsman for their side could be Max Bryant and Colin Munro, possibly. Colin Munro may bat 3, we don't know. But Max Bryant scored 1 off 5 in their trial match. He's at 95,000. Without Chris Lynn in the side, he can kind of play the role that Chris Lynn played and kind of play it freely without, a lot of the time he would start playing his role, then Chris Lynn would get out, and he was kind of confused. Do I go for it and risk losing another wicket, or do I be conservative? So he is the guy this year that can really get them teed off. Colin Munro is the kind of player who can do that, but he builds into an innings more so than not. Max Bryant, against New South Wales in the Marsh Cup, I always refer to the Marsh Cup, but a couple of weeks ago, it was like 88 off 40 balls or something, and he was looking brilliant. It looks like he's worked hard on his game in the last few months or the last year leading into this. What are your thoughts on Max Bryant? And he's always someone who comes into the consideration at this time of year, but rightly so because he's got the role.
Yeah, I guess he's been an opener the last couple of years. He's kind of been up and down the order and he's been in and out of the team, but it looks like now that he's kind of locked into an opening spot at the Heat. The problem with the Heat, I guess before we start talking about other players, is they have the bye in round 2, then the double. So it's kind of an awkward mix for them. Like you can kind of maybe carry one this week, see how they go. Obviously you won't be playing them next week and then load up for them for the bye. So I think Maxi Bryant, I'm pretty sure he's under 100K. He's kind of been there for most of the year. So I think he's kind of one that we look for the doubles. I think with these batsmen that are not consistent, you kind of want them on a double because if you're missing out, you're going home with 0-1 point. So
yeah, that's true.
On a player that's not going to be highly owned, so it's going to hurt you and not hurt many other people. So although if he does go big, then obviously there's that. But yeah, I think Max Bryant is going to be one that you kind of look at for the doubles, but at his price, yeah, it's good. And I guess the fact that he's going to be pretty much locked in, and like you said, in decent form. So
the thing about Max Bryant is, as you said, if he gets one bad score, his price is at a point where it can go down, and it can go down quite significantly. So, and they've got a lot of depth there. So they've got Colin Munro, who will come in at 3 most likely. They've got Matthew Renshaw, who will probably bat 4. probably about 4. Then Sam Billings, who will bat 5. And then they've got the internationals when they come back. They've got Usman Khawaja, who needs to come back. They've got Marnus Labuschagne, depending on what he does after the test matches. We don't know whether he's going to come back and get a spot. His position, if he doesn't perform, he could easily be out of the side quite quickly. So I think starting with him, last week I said on the show that I am starting with him, and that was a rash in the moment decision, but I don't think I'm going to start with him just based on the fact that he can lose a lot of money. And with all these internationals coming back, we really got to see some promise from him at the start of the season, and hopefully off the eye test, you can tell whether he's going to keep his spot or not.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, like we've kind of both agreed that he's a bit of a watch, and hopefully does perform early, so he's locked himself into the side.
Yep. Who did I say is going to open the batting with him? Probably Colin Munro, right?
And then Renshaw's probably going to be second.
Yeah, so Renshaw might be 3 actually, and then Billings 4, and then maybe Paisley 5 or something. That's before all the internationals come back. But Colin Munro, 150,000, tempted at all? Or are a lot of these players, are you actually even considering them at all, or are these kind of watches for now?
No, these are watches, and then they're gets in the doubles for me. Like me and Mikey, we kind of just chase these doubles. I know a lot of people say, no, you need people that are going to score, but you get these players like Colin Munro. It's not guaranteed points every single week. Where I guess you get an all-rounder or more so a bowler that's kind of guaranteed points every single week. Where batters they get out for a duck and they've got 0 points. that's not very helpful. At least if a bowler gets no wickets, there's a good chance that they might get 10 runs. They might get a bit of an economy, a couple of dot balls, so they're going to get points. Where batters it's a hit or miss.
How bad is it when your fresh pod batsman comes in, scores 0 points, and they're still yet to bowl, and you just know they're not a bowler, so they're not going to get any more points, and they're just stuck on that score for the rest of the game.
Exactly, man. It's not a good feeling.
Pretty bad. Renshaw, he's a new recruit for them, and for the first time in his career, he's got the bowler-batter duel. I think he will play a role in the bowling department. What are your thoughts on him? Is he someone that tickles your fancy? I honestly think that with the role, he could potentially be someone you grab earlier than the double.
Yeah, I'm actually quite interested in Renshaw, especially if he's going to bowl a couple of overs. I think he's been bowling a bit in the Marsh Cup, whatever you rave on about. Pretty sure he's been bowling quite a bit. So, I mean, coming in at 3, bowling a couple of overs. I mean, yeah, he's definitely on my radar for sure. He's probably at the top. At the top of my players for the Heat was Michael Neser, but now he's in the test side. I don't really see him coming back. And he might be back because the test's over, but it's a bit of a risk because he might be in and around the side for the next test. So
let's talk about
Renshaw's
Neser.
Probably at the top of my list.
Let's talk about Neser quickly. I know we're talking about Matt Renshaw, but I think we can agree that Matt Renshaw with the role, yes, definitely watch. He's someone, if you've got one slot in your side, you can take a punt on because he does have that role. He's the kind of Matt Short type that you really like, that he's going to bowl crucial overs, bowl up the front so they can get overs out of the way. And while batsmen are attacking in the power play, and he may get a few overs here and there when they're looking for something. So, yeah, I do like Matt Renshaw. But Michael Neser, he was in my side all preseason. Obviously, he got picked for the test, but he won't. He was out of my side before that, just because I think you've really got to fill up on the doubles, especially with these bowlers, because these bowlers can stack up so many points, and all these all-rounders. I really like him at the price, 107,000. That is an absolute bargain for him. He's hardly played any BBL in the last few years, and because he's been in the test squad and COVID's been around, he's been in that bubble, and I think this year he'll get the chance to have a few games, and once he comes in, he's going to be that guy that just gets bulk wickets. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I picked him up right at the end of last year. He scored scored quite well. I think it was maybe a ton or something. Might have even been a double, but I know I picked him up and he scored well in the very last rounds, which helped me kind of get up there in the ranks. So he's kind of always been on the good for me, rather than some of the players that I'm like, yeah, I'm not touching them again. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like you said, these test players that are kind of on the fringe don't no longer have to be in a bubble, so they'll be allowed to be released and to go and play BBL. So hopefully Nisa can play some games, and maybe, I mean, he was well off the test side, and he just got caught in because 3 bowlers have been injured. So
Yeah, Hazelwood.
or been rested because it was an easy kind of win.
Yeah, Cummins, then Hazelwood. Cummins will be back for the next test, but Hazelwood is in serious doubt. So that is a bad sign for him because assuming Boland gets that role instead of Cummins, instead of Hazelwood, sorry, it means Nisa will be that 12th man, so he probably won't get released to play BBL. That being said, we could be surprised. He might be released more often than not. It's just we've been living in COVID the last 2 years, and we're finally out of it with the sporting and their rules. So hopefully, I guess we'll hopefully get to see a bit of him. But they do have some gun bowlers already. Xavier Bartlett. Who are we talking about? Me and Mikey had a conversation last week on the podcast saying, who do we think is going to be the breakout person this year? And we named it the Xavier Bartlett Award because he absolutely came out of the blocks flying last year at 208,000. He will have a similar role. Honestly, he batted so much and he batted so well last year. I don't know if he's going to be able to replicate that, but firstly, Xavier Bartlett, and secondly, who do you think is going to get the Xavier Bartlett Award for this season?
Well, first, I guess on actual Xavier Bartlett, I think he's overs. I don't think you can pay 208K for someone who's going to have a bye next round, only playing one game.
That's true.
I mean, he did have a sensational year last year, and he even there was a few games where he was used as an X factor, so he kind of hurt his score a bit. He could have even been better than what he was last year. But as for this year, I would have said Hayden Kerr. He kind of had a good year last year for the Sixers, so I kind of really can't put him in there. Kind of has to be a little bit of an unknown.
Well, Hayden Kerr was pretty much in the running for the Xavier Bartlett Award.
For the Xavier Bartlett Award last year.
It probably would have been Xavier Bartlett, Tom Rogers, Hayden Kerr. Probably not in that order. Probably Xavier Bartlett, then Hayden Kerr, then Tom Rogers. Honestly, every season there is one, and there's going to be one this year, and I can't put my finger on it.
Who do you reckon, Sabs? You've brought up the award. Surely you have someone in
mind. I don't have anyone in mind just yet, but let me think about it. I'll have something by the end of the episode. So Xavier Bartlett, no. Maybe by the end of the episode, are you going to have a Xavier Bartlett Award winner?
I'll do my searching and have a think. Yeah. Yes.
So if I'm a bit sidetracked, it's because I'm looking at Xavier Bartlett potential winners. We've got on the other opening bowler, Mark Steckity. He's in a very similar mold, and he was probably the Xavier Bartlett medal winner the year before, if I'm not mistaken. It could have been Nathan Ellis or something, but Mark Steckity, he is someone who just goes strength to strength. Him and Xavier Bartlett have absolutely killed it this preseason in the Sheffield Shield setting. But he seems to... No, it's actually him and Nisa. Steckity, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, he's sort of proven rather than Bartlett, who's kind of had one good season. Steckity's done it for a couple of years now. He's kind of their main strike bowler. I think, yeah, he'll be in most sides during the, during the doubles. I think, again, it's a lot of money to spend on a player. You're going to play 1 week bench and then have to play the week after. I think me and Mikey both had him like really early last year, and he kind of helped us like massively, Steckity. So I know me and Mikey definitely have a soft spot for him, and he'll probably find his way back into our sides.
I really want to start with Steckity, but obviously with the round 2 bye, it is very hard, and you've got to kind of get rid of all your stars players as well. And it's kind of a similar mold. Obviously, you can probably keep Marcus Stoinis because he's so cheap. But yeah, you're going to have to get rid of a few. We've got a few comments here. Thank you for all of your efforts and insights, legends. Thank you, Global Sports Card Investor on YouTube. We got the SC Whisperer tuning in. Long live Clive Rose. Clive Rose, where is he gone? He's honestly fallen off a bridge. He's someone that could be used in a BBL franchise. You've got Ben Menenti kind of doing a similar thing these days, but yeah, it's a bit sad that we haven't seen him around. And we've got the Global Sports Card Investor. Where are the birds? Mikey's not here, but Jake's got his fan in the background. It's 35 degrees in Sydney and no air conditioner. What's doing?
Yeah, I know, man. I've got the fan on. I did a mic check before. I was like, "Saz, is it too loud?" He's like, "That's all right. Just a bit of
it's kind of like white noise,
bit of soothing noise."
Yeah, it's not bloody the birds going on in the background. That is old school Mike and Sav's terrible.
Yeah, that's Mikey. That's finest.
At least he talks enough. Like he goes off on a tangent that it doesn't matter because
he masks it out.
Yeah, we've got a few it's very similar to a lot of sides here. They've got a lot of potential options that can come in and out, but ones to keep an eye out throughout the year. I think Jack Wildermuth always kind of plays a role. He bats that 7 role and bowls first change. He was a SuperCoach weapon at one point, but he's kind of fallen off as a potential option, but he is someone who can go on and run a form. We've got Mitchell Swepson, who I'm very interested in, 107,000. We've got Matt Renshaw, who is the other spinner in their side, but usually he's got Majib to partner with, and he was competing with for overs, but he is the guy now, and I think he's going to play a massive role in this season. I don't want to say he's going to get the Xavier Bartlett Award, but it could be close because we know he's already established and we know he has potential. But I think this is the season Mitch Swepson goes up a gear for the Brisbane Heat.
Yeah, I agree with you, Saz. I mean, I've kind of looked at him. I was like you were saying, it could be the year that he sort of takes off. Doesn't have Majid there. He's the key spinner in that side. So yeah, he could be. He hasn't really played much for the last couple of years because he's kind of been in around that test side with COVID and the bubble. He couldn't get out and play. So he's definitely at the top of my list for one of the Heat players that I'll be looking at for the double, I think. And I mean, the fact that Nice is not there, I look at Swepson. The fact he doesn't have that duel kind of affects me not selecting a Heat player or a cheaper Heat player and carrying them till round 3. So I'm kind of it's going to be a wait on someone like a Swepson.
I did say he's got Majib to battle with for overs that he won't have. We've got Renshaw in the side now, but we've also got Matthew Cunningham at 71,000. He actually played in that Cricket Australia 11 against South Africa on the weekend, and he got 4 wickets himself against an international side. So I think he'll have a lot of confidence going into this tournament. And at the price, I started with him last year, and I thought he was going to he came into the season with a lot of hope, getting a lot of wickets. This was one of my preseason picks, him getting a lot of wickets in the Marsh Cup, in the Sheffield Shield. But I think the spot is there for Matthew Cunningham to have the overs. Mitch Swepson will be the leading. He'll be the frontline spinner, but I think Matthew Cunningham can play a role for the Brisbane Heat.
Yeah, I mean, I really haven't seen much of him. He kind of had a few games last year for the BBL, and he didn't really set the world on fire. So that's kind of why I haven't really seen him. But the fact he got 4 wickets in that Australia 11 game is kind of a pretty big deal. Well,
they were playing not a full strength side, but Bavuma, he's the captain of the side. He was playing as world class players playing. So the fact that he can do it against a world class attack means it's got to be doing something right. So I really like Matthew Cunningham at a 71,000. So he's probably someone you can probably afford to start with on your bench. You won't have him in round 2, but that's kind of good having. I mean, if you're keeping stars plays, maybe it's not worth it. Maybe it's good to have a look at him. If he gains 20,000, then jump on before he rises in price too much more. But I really think him and Mitch Swepson are going to be massive watches this year. But that probably means that Matthew Renshaw, who we did talk about before, maybe not get a massive bowling role like we expect him to, because obviously they've got Bartlett, Steckity, Wildermuth. I think maybe Wildermuth and Renshaw maybe share overs. Maybe Renshaw bowls 1, Wildermuth bowls 3. But yeah, maybe it's not as clear cut as we think it is, Jake.
Yeah, and I guess that's why it's good that they kind of have the bye second, and they're a bit of a watch. So yeah, like they do have a lot of those all-rounder type bowlers. Like they've got Baisley, they've got Wildermuth.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I don't know if they can fit them all in. They couldn't fit them all in last year, so I think it's definitely a watch for a lot of these heat players.
Yeah, and they've got like players like Will Prestwidge, who is a bowler as well. So yeah, not all of these players will make the side. Whether they play a Swepson and Cunningham as just bowlers, I don't know if they can afford to do Steckity, Bartlett, Cunningham, and Swepson. Actually, Steckity and Bartlett can bat, so maybe they will kind of have an early tail and invest in their top order batsmen. Hopefully. Yeah. Is there anyone else for the Heat that you find interesting, or is that all that you're looking at?
No, I think that's it. We can move on to the Scorchers.
Spencer Johnson for the Heat. He got 4 for 34 in their trial match. It was an intra-squad match, though, so I don't know how much.
I don't think he's going to get a run.
Yeah, he's 42,000, so you would assume he was someone in the B side. All right. So moving on to the Perth Scorchers. This is a team that has the bye in the first round. So how far we're looking into this is not... these aren't players we're going to start with in round 1. I think possibly Josh Inglis is one we're definitely going to consider starting with because he is at a cheap price. But let's start with their trial match on the weekend. Cameron Bancroft opening the batting, 58 off 34. Josh Inglis, 57 off 29, batting number 4. So I did say that Josh Inglis is pretty much slam dunk, but batting number 4, is that as appealing as it seems? I think the fact that he is playing a double and he is a wicket keeper, it does land in his favour, but batting number 4, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, he's still gonna come in and get a hit at some point, you'd think, unless they've rolled a team, which is very likely for the Scorchers. Their bowling set's that good, but I think coming in at 4, he kind of came in, 3 or 4 last year as well. So, and he has a sort of game that he's like in the trial, he can go big, he can have a strike rate of 200 and score quickly. So I think at his price, as a wicketkeeper, I think he's a pretty good option to start with. And I can see why everyone sort of has. The interesting one, I guess, is Bancroft. He's also available as a wicketkeeper. He's probably going to bat ahead of Inglis.
Yeah,
not as much not as as big a hitter as Inglis, but if you can tick the runs over, then that's points. Every single run's a point.
Well, they both scored 50s. Yeah, like looking at it now, they're only 4K difference in price, and really, Bancroft has the better role. And Bancroft won't keep over Inglis, but I don't know. The fact that he's opening the batting means he's going to get bat on ball early. He's going to be batting within the first power play, and he's not going to come in at a shit time. Like, we know when he's going to come in. Batting number 4, it's not guaranteed that this person's going to get a bat. So maybe Bancroft is the way to go. I've never really looked at it, but they both look like they're in good form. Let me just go back to Bancroft. 58 off 34, where Inglis got 57 off 29. So they're batting very similarly. They're I don't know. And the fact that South Africa in Australia right now, do you think that fuels a bit of a fire in Bancroft's belly?
I think he's trying to forget all that, mate. I don't think he's, that's
I'm
firing him up
looking
at
too
all.
far into it, am I?
Yeah, you're trying to find something to from nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually. Are you starting with Josh Inglis?
Yes, but I don't know. The fact he's in at 4, it's an easy swap to Bancroft. But I guess Inglis is probably the safer pick. I think Bancroft, if he has one game, there's a chance he falls out for a Hobson or something like that. So I think job security wise, I think Inglis is probably safer than Bancroft. But yeah, I don't know. You kind of like the batter that's batting up higher than the rest of them, don't you?
I think I'm going to go with Bancroft. I know this is crazy, but you can't. Like the thing is, you can't have this person right at round 1 and then just swap them round 2 because that's going to cost a trade. So you've got to make your decision nice and early. And I think Bancroft at 91,000. The thing is, his role hasn't changed, and I guess neither has Bancroft's, neither has Inglis's, but I guess the price is right, and they're at a price that they can make money on. So I don't know. It's such a tough one. When Faf is Faf starting the season?
I think so. They've flown in today or tomorrow. So yeah, they've flown in to be ready for round 1. Him and someone else.
You would assume he probably bats 3 then, and then we've got Bancroft and
Inglis, then Hardy. See, Hardy was one that was quite interesting. I thought he might have, been the Mitch Marsh role where he was going to bowl a couple of overs, come in at 3, but it looks like he's kind of going to go back to his, come in at 5 or 6 and probably not bowl that often. So I think he's one that I was looking at, but now I'm kind of off him.
Yeah, maybe Inglis does open or Faf opens. Honestly, like I'm looking at it now.
But I think Lith's going to open.
Right. There you go.
Yeah, he's an English opener, so I think.
And we don't know how much. We don't know how much he's going to be, but
don't know his price yet. No.
All right, Bancroft. I think I'm going to go with Bancroft, but hopefully we'll keep an eye on that. Faf, are you going to possibly trade a Stars player for Faf, or?
Yeah, I think
even Matt Short.
The fact we don't have Maxwell kind of hurts. I think Matt Short could be the one that you go to a Faf, but it's 180k. It's a lot to spend on just a batsman.
He does have the double game though.
He will have he does have the double game. I think he's kind of be one that you don't really want to, but FOMO says you got to grab him. So I think that's going to be a decision in round 2. I think.
There are a lot of potential options in this round 2 for the Perth Scorchers. There are a lot of bowlers like Matthew Kelly, 201,000. Honestly, the last BBL feels like such a long time ago because I don't remember him going off, but I can picture it. Like it sounds like he was a contender for the Xavier Bartlett Award.
He just didn't play enough. That was the thing. Like he came in and just clean up, but he wouldn't regain his spot like it was, say they were resting an Andrew Ty or someone like that. But they have that many good fast bowlers in there, or even spinners as well. That they are. You can see why they keep winning, or they're always up there at the end of the season. Yeah,
Andrew Ty, he is always an option. Start of the season, I'm pretty sure Mikey's starting with him, which is crazy tactics. Crazy tactics.
No, I don't think it's Jason that crazy.
Barrett.
I think Mikey's got a pretty good one there.
Ballsy. Timel Mills, 167,000. Jai Richardson, 149,000. Jason Behrendorff.
Though I think with Jai Richardson.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think if Jai Richardson was healthy, I think Mikey would have as well started with Jai Richardson.
He'd be number 1 on the list for sure.
Yeah, but the fact he's under an injury.
All these bowlers, where do you rank them, and where do you rank them in the likeliness of you getting them in your side?
Well, Richardson would have been at the top, but the fact that he's not going to be there or he's under an injury kind of puts him down. I think Andrew Ty, every single year he does it. He bowls at the death, economical, gets wickets for fun. I think he's probably at the top. Then I'm kind of putting Ashton Agar. He kind of had an awesome year last year. And the fact that he kind of has that dual batter bowler, gets in a bit of batting and scores pretty quickly, gets 4 overs no matter what. The only one, I guess, that's kind of a bit of a I don't know, a bit of a negative towards it is the form of the Hatsoglu. Hatsoglu's been absolutely killing it. So, and I think he's kind of going to demand a spot. I think they might run the 2 spinners. They did a bit last year, but if there was, say, it was a pacey wicket, Hatsoglu would always miss out. So, I kind of put Ty first, Agar second. Maybe Hatsoglu if he's going to be guaranteed a spot because he's 100 Ks.
They're all very similar.
Yeah, and Berendorf is kind of a lot cheaper, but he's kind of not really the wicket taker.
Yeah,
of the group. He's kind of just the economical bowler, and then they attack from the other side. So I don't know, Saz, who's your pick for these bowlers? I mean, they do it every single year.
Yeah, I've got to go with Ashton Agar. I think the problem with Agar is he's a chance not to bowl 4 overs all the time.
I think he might not have, but I thought he bowled like 4 overs every single game last year.
He should.
He always just bowls in that middle.
He honestly should be. Maybe that's why it doesn't seem like he bowls 4 overs because he just kind of gets it out of the way. But there's just so many bowlers there that I don't know if any of these are going to be great. Like Jai Richardson always bowls 4. Berendorf is not guaranteed to get that 4. He might bowl 2 up front and that's it. I think with this side, they're going to use the X Factor play.
Well, there's no more X Factor anymore.
There's not.
They've canned it. They have canned it.
Oh,
yeah! No
damn it! Why?
Oh, mate, that was a SuperCoach nightmare. That X Factor.
Man, it was a shit rule. I didn't like it, but for a side like this, like you would see,
you can afford to do it.
Like you'd have Berendorf bowling 2-3 overs right up the start, and then bring a batsman on or something. Like that is a dream play. Oh, can they do that? Or
I think you can only bowl 1 over, and then you had to get subbed out.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. It's gone, Stabs. There's no more.
That would work for Berendorf, though. All right. But I think the fact that Richardson is under an injury cloud, that means that Ty is definitely in bowling 4 overs, and then you've got Agar and Hatsoglu that are probably going to bowl 4, maybe 3 at least. And then we've got Matthew Kelly. Maybe Matthew Kelly does play a good role to start the year at least. And
I don't even know if he gets a spot in that side. They've got
tough
bowls. You've got Tymor Mills there. You've got Aaron Hardy can also bowl some as well.
Laurie Evans can bowl. I don't know. Honestly, don't know.
Laurie Evans, he got suspended, didn't he? He was the Pom that got suspended.
Was he?
That was him. Yeah. Maybe from drug cheat.
Really?
And that's who they Faf replaced. Pretty sure.
Oh, right. Yeah, there is like a little red thing here. So, yeah. Interesting.
Don't be picking him, mate. Don't be picking him.
Cameron Green is quite down the list. He's going to feature later in the tournament, so he is someone definitely to look out for. Cooper Connolly might get a spot. Just based on how we're talking, I don't think he's going to get a spot early in the tournament, so he's probably someone I won't start with because you could, he probably could be the who was that auto emergency guy that always, what was his name from the NRL? From NRL.
Jerome Omosia.
No,
actual AE Nightmare.
Wasn't it the Bulldogs one? No, not AE Nightmare.
Jared Anderson.
Jared Anderson. He's the Jared Anderson.
He's enough.
He will be, because I don't think he'll play. But Lance Morris, 62,000, got picked in the Australian squad. With Cummins coming back, he might get a start. So that's at that price. That's a pretty good shout. He could get a start if Richardson or Tymor Mills don't.
See, all these bowls we're talking about, it could be even a rotation risk for a lot of these bowls that we could.
Yeah, you're right.
They have that many bowlers.
Is there anyone else in this list that I've talked about that you think I've missed? Like Aaron Hardy's going to play some sort of role, but I don't like the kind of player that does average at both. I want someone who who is a great bowler that can bat, or a great batsman that can bowl a bit. So
Or are affected by the team that they're in. Same thing with Ashton Turner. Like, hey, he's a good player. He's their captain. He's a good player.
yeah,
Same with Aaron Hardy. Like, if they went to a different side, they'd probably be opening the
yeah,
batting, potentially opening the bowling. So
yeah.
the fact that they're in the Scorchers kind of hurts them. But yeah, I don't really have anyone else from the Scorchers.
I don't either, and I'm sure we'll talk
Everyone.
about it. We'll talk about it next week when they actually
When we
when
target
they
those
actually
Scorchers
play,
on the double.
and hopefully we can get more of a gauge of where everyone's going to be at. But just looking at this side, I don't know if this side is going to be the side that makes it to the grand final. What are your thoughts on who's going to be in the grand final this year for the BBL?
Well, who's the Thunder going to verse in the grand final? I don't know. I think you can still, you got to put the Scorchers there. Their bowling attacks just insane, and even the Sixers, as even though I don't like them because they're obviously the Thunder's enemy.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably going to be one of those two. They do it every single year. They keep the same side. They don't need the internationals because they're just full of Aussie talent. So I think, although the loss of Mitch Marsh is probably going to be pretty big, and Colin Munro, but they're filling it with other talent. So I think, yeah, Thunder will verse either the Scorchers or the Sixers. What about you, Safs?
I actually think it's going to be. I'm going to lock one side in 100%, and that's going to be the Hobart Hurricanes. I think they're going to have a good run this year.
They have a good balance sign, they do.
Just one year together, and they missed out last year, but I think it's going to do the world of good for them. I think the Adelaide Strikers are going to struggle this season. I guess it doesn't take an expert to say that just their side just doesn't look as stacked.
And Rashid's not there for the whole season, so that's
exactly. I think the Renegades are going to do quite well. They're not going to make.
I think they're going to do better. I don't think they're going to be.
I think they're going to make the semi-final. I think the Stars might come fifth and miss out. I guess it's got to be the Sixers and the Hurricanes then. That's just by process of elimination. I think.
And I noticed how we didn't mention the Heat because we both agree that they're pretty garbage.
Yeah, no,
they're in Brisbane.
They're in a rebuilding year. They'll kind of be like the someone last year came ninth or so. Who came ninth last year?
What in the NRL?
Yeah. Broncos, Jesus. Broncos. Okay. I guess it's kind of like a Broncos year for them where they're rebuilding and they'll be better for it next
Brisbane,
year.
it's a thing. They just rebuild.
It is a thing. So, yeah, I think it's going to be the Hobart Hurricanes and the Sydney Sixers, and the semi-final is going to be the Sixers, Hurricanes, Thunder, and Renegades.
Jeez, he's rating the Renegades highly.
I think they're going to do well. I think they do well. Very good. Let's answer one more question before we go. Actually, we've got a couple here. Andrew Christie, I have 11 double game weeks for the first round. Is that too many? And then too hard to get other players in later? Honestly, I'm going with 10 at the moment, and I think I'm not worried at all. What are your thoughts, Jake?
Yeah, I'm not worried. I think I'll have potentially 11, depending on how they go in their first game.
And
then I'll have a couple of Scorchers on the bench. So I think I've kind of mapped out my first couple of rounds of the type of player I'm going to be bringing in, the type of player I'm going to be trading out. So obviously that can change easily, but I don't think that's a worry. You're going to start off with a flyer, and like it was the last couple of years, you got to start off with a flyer because it's very hard, especially with three teams on a double. It's very hard to catch ground on the single game weeks because teams start looking very similar.
Yes, and then we've got another one here. Thoughts on Cartwright for the double? Will he get some overs? I'll debunk that straight away. He's not going to bowl again. Like the fact that Stoinis was barely getting overs last year means Stoinis is in front of him in the pecking order.
Yeah, they've got plenty of bowlers in there. I mean, Bo Webster's probably a better chance of bowling some overs over Cartwright, and he's probably not even going to get a bowl. So, yeah, but the fact, like we sort of mentioned earlier, if Hilton Cartwright does open Savs, you'll be all over him like a rash. He won't be getting any overs, I don't think, but he can hit them.
I will be all over Hilton Cartwright. And last one, Supercoach 360. We've got the podcast listening in tonight. I love Jake. We love you too, Bergs. I assume that's Bergs.
Hopefully it's the Bergs. I love the Bergs.
Love the Bergs. Love me some Bergs.
In some NFL drafts with Bergsy, and it's good fun.
Yes, very good. And that's it for the podcast. Enjoy Supercoach, lads. We'll be back next Tuesday at latest. I guess we'll see. I haven't looked into when the round ends, but we'll play it by year. We'll see how we go. Jake's probably looking
probably a bit earlier than that, because I think the round kind of ends on maybe a Saturday. So hopefully we might come in a bit earlier than that. It's going to be very hard because the rounds end and then they start again. So, we have difficulties getting everyone here on one day a week. So we'll do our best though. But yeah, good luck to everyone.
I think at worst we'll be back on Sunday then. Sunday.
Yeah, so the last game's on a Friday, and the round then starts the Saturday night.
All right, sweet. Well, we'll get that out.
So unless we're doing a Saturday podcast, then
Saturday podcast. I don't mind that.
If we can find a spare hour, we can find a spare hour somewhere.
I can do it. My wife's away for a work Christmas party, so.
Oh, you're on dad duty though.
Yeah, I'm on dad. Yeah, but can be done. Overall group code is 940157. Make sure to join that. You got the chance to win. There's 2 Supercoach Championship rings going out. That'll go to the top 2. And then the top. So the rings will go away. The ring will go away to one person.
Yep.
To the winner, right?
It's first overall, yeah.
And then the first will also get their choice of a 6-pack of Bloke in a Bar or the shirt, or they can have the second ring if they really want to. And then we'll do the top 20. We'll do a draw for the other prizes.
Sweet.
So first we'll get 2 prizes, and the other 2 will go in a draw to win 1 prize each. So you can win the 2 Supercoach Championship rings, the Supercoach Experience Game Day shirt, or the 6-pack of Bloke in a Bar, and that's the Game Day shirt right here.
Yeah, okay.
It's for NRL.
Like either team.
Yeah, it's for NRL season really, but we are primarily NRL, and our listeners are NRL. So, cheers for listening, and make sure to join that group so you go in the chance to win that. And cheers for coming on, Jake. Good luck with your Supercoach, and good luck to the Thunder, eh?
You too, yeah. Yep. Can't wait for it. Tuesday, everyone tune in. Good luck.
Cheers, guys.